Welcome to our weekly show where we explore some wild tales and science fiction adventures. Stories about like geek theorists, stoned philosophers, time-traveling rebels, things like that. We like to have a little fun with it, and hopefully leave you questioning reality just a little bit. Don't forget to rate and follow the show if you want more world-bending tales like this one. So today on the Big Bang Theory podcast, get ready for a cosmic journey into a really mind-bending scenario. We dug this one up from, let's just say a collection we're calling Big Bang Theory.
Okay, I like it.
Yeah, this story is called The 15-Minute Eternity, deals with a time loop.
Ah, a classic. Always good for some existential dread.
Yeah, for real. And this one, it's pretty rough. Imagine being a teenager, just trying to get through high school, but you're trapped in this 15-minute loop that always ends with a violent murder of your entire family.
Oof, that's heavy. So the protagonist is forced to relive this horrific event over and over again.
Right. And that's exactly where the story starts. It just throws you headfirst into these initial loops, and it's just pure horror. I mean, imagine witnessing your family being murdered and knowing it's going to happen again in like 10 minutes.
I can see how that would mess with your head. Does he try to stop it?
Oh, yeah. He tries everything. Warning them, hiding them, even trying to fight the killer. But it always ends the same way. Each loop just resets, and it all starts again. You really start to feel for this kid, Leo.
Leo, got it. Yeah, the psychological impact of that kind of repeated trauma, it's hard to even fathom. It really makes you question the nature of, free will. If you're stuck in this predetermined loop, what does it even mean to make a choice?
Exactly. Like, where does your agency begin and end? But then something interesting happens. In one of these loops, Leo notices something different about the killer. Just a small detail.
What kind of detail?
Well, the story describes the killer as this nondescript figure in a hoodie with these flint eyes. And in this particular loop, Leo sees this, flicker of recognition in those eyes. Like the killer, for just a second, seems to recognize Leo.
Huh. That's interesting. So it's almost like even though the loop resets, there's this tiny piece of awareness that's carrying over for the killer.
Right, and it's a huge turning point for Leo. Up until that moment, he's basically seen the killer as this unstoppable force of nature. But now he starts to think, well, maybe the killer is also trapped in this loop in some way. Maybe he's not completely in control either.
I see. So that sparks a shift in Leo's approach.
Yeah, completely. Because if the killer might be affected by the loop, maybe Leo can actually change things. And that leads to him trying something totally different. He just refuses to open the door when the killer comes knocking.
Whoa. Okay, so he breaks the pattern. What happens?
For the first time, the killer leaves. And for 15 glorious minutes, Leo and his family are safe. It's the first deviation from the expected outcome. But it also comes with this, chilling realization.
Uh-oh. I bet it's not all sunshine and roses.
Nope. Leo knows the killer will be back. It's just a matter of time. And this breeze taste of survival, it kind of flips a switch in him. The fear turns into this cold, hard rage. He wants revenge.
That's a pretty natural human reaction, I'd say, especially after all that trauma and helplessness. But how does he even begin to enact revenge in a time loop?
Well, that's where things get really interesting.
Yeah.
Knowing exactly what's going to happen, Leo starts using the loop to his advantage. He sets up these elaborate traps for the killer, these vengeance loops, as the story calls them.
Okay, I'm intrigued. What kind of traps?
We're talking wasp spray, icy hot sauce, the kind of stuff that would just make your life miserable. There's one loop where he super glues the killer's hand to a doorknob.
Ouch. Talk about adding insult to injury.
Oh, and it gets even weirder. In another loop, Leo uses this air horn timed to go off whenever the family's sitcom is playing on TV.
Wait, so he's weaponizing the laugh track?
Exactly. It's like this bizarre form of psychological warfare, and it actually seems to work. With each loop, the killer starts to show signs of, subconscious awareness. He subtly changes his tactics as if he's sensing something's off.
That's fascinating. So even without conscious memory, the repeated experiences are leaving some kind of imprint on his behavior. It makes you wonder about the nature of memory and trauma, can you be affected by something you don't even consciously remember?
Right. It's like this whole other layer of the human experience we don't even fully understand. And it makes you think, what if something like that is happening in our own lives? What if we're being influenced by things we don't even realize?
Now that is a truly unsettling thought. But let's get back to Leo. Does he ever actually break out of the loop?
Well, that's where things take another turn. Instead of attacking the killer, Leo tries a different approach. He starts planting these suggestions, telling the killer that he's got the wrong family, that someone else is responsible for trapping them in this loop.
Oh, wow. So he's trying to manipulate the killer's perception of reality within the loop itself. It's a risky move.
Hugely risky. He's basically betting on the idea that the killer is starting to sense the repetition, that there's this growing unease or even confusion in his mind.
Does it work?
Well, yeah, in a way. The killer, he gets fixated on this black sedan that starts appearing after Leo's first deviation from the loop, when he didn't open the door. It's like this new element has been introduced.
Right.
And the killer, maybe subconsciously sensing the unnatural nature of the loop, latches onto it.
Okay, so we've got a mysterious black sedan. This is getting good. What happens next?
Things get, they get pretty wild. A non-human, multi-limbed machine emerges from the car and just vaporizes the killer with this red beam, like poof, gone.
Whoa, hold on. A machine? What kind of machine?
The story doesn't really go into detail. It just describes it as this otherworldly thing with multiple limbs. But the point is, the killer's gone. And for a moment, it seems like the loop is finally broken, Leo's free, there's this huge wave of relief.
I bet. But knowing the story, I have a feeling that relief is short-lived.
You got it. It gets shattered by a phone call. A synthesized voice, claiming to be a satisfied client, reveals the horrifying truth. The loop, the killer, Leo's suffering, all of it, it was an experiment. A meticulously orchestrated experiment in behavioral refinement.
Oh no, that's just awful. So all that pain, all those desperate attempts to survive and get revenge, it was all just data for someone else.
Yep. The caller explains that the killer, Silas, was a test subject, and Leo's enthusiastic participation, his resilience, his ingenuity in those vengeance loops was valuable data. The machine, it was a retrieval unit. It's like they were studying both of them.
It's chilling to think about, this idea that someone could orchestrate such suffering, such psychological torment, and just view it as data points. The lack of empathy is it's astounding.
Right. It's like the ultimate violation.
Yeah.
And then the caller drops this bombshell. The experiment with Silas is over, but Leo's aptitude for leveraging temporal recurrence for punitive action have been noted.
Wait, what does that even mean?
Well, a panel in his house glows blue, and the voice heavily implies that Leo's now either an assistant researcher or the next test subject. So it's like they've been watching him, analyzing his every move, and now they're ready to, upgrade him.
That's just terrifying. So even though the immediate threat is gone, he's potentially trapped in an even bigger, more sinister game now.
And then the story ends with the familiar sound of a ceramic mug hitting linoleum, the same sound that marked the beginning of each loop. It's clear the loop hasn't been broken at all. It's just starting over. But with Leo now fully aware of the puppet master behind the strings.
Wow. Wow. That ending is a real gut punch. This cosmic journey into the 15-minute eternity leaves you with so many unsettling questions. I mean, the initial horror of the time loop is bad enough, but then you layer on this manipulation, the sense that someone was deliberately orchestrating Leo's suffering for their own twisted purposes, and it takes the whole thing to a whole new level of existential dread.
Yeah, it makes you question everything. And what's the point of struggling, of fighting for survival, if it's all just part of some grand experiment you don't even know about?
And think about it. All of Leo's cleverness, his resilience in those vengeance loops, it's almost admirable, right? But in this context, it's just data. It makes you wonder if any of our own triumphs, those moments where we feel like we've overcome something, could just be part of some larger unseen system.
It's a really unsettling thought. But what gets me even more is the way both Leo and the killer evolve within the loop. The killer, even without conscious memory, starts to adapt, like he's sensing the repetition on some level. And Leo, well, he goes from this terrified teenager to this, cold and calculated avenger. It's both understandable and deeply disturbing.
It really blurs the lines of victim and perpetrator, doesn't it? And that final revelation with the blue light and the suggestion that Leo might be part of the experiment now, that's just bone-chilling. What will they make him do? Will he become the tormentor? It's a horrifying thought.
This whole story, it's obviously fictional, but it taps into these very real anxieties we have about control, about the possibility that our lives might be shaped by forces we can't even comprehend. It's like a warning to always question reality, to be aware of the potential for unseen influences.
Absolutely. We'd love to hear what you think about this mind-bending narrative. What would you have done in Leo's situation? What do you make of the people behind this experiment? Head over to our social media channels and join the conversation. It's the kind of story that sticks with you, You just keep thinking about the implications.
So next time you're going about your day, maybe take a moment to appreciate the apparent linearity of your own life. And maybe, just maybe, consider the possibility that even the most ordinary moments could hold hidden layers of meaning. Or manipulation. Until our next cosmic journey, keep questioning reality, and thanks for joining us on the Big Bang Theory podcast. Don't forget to rate and follow the show if you want more world-bending tales.